It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am so happy that you are hanging out with me today as we start a brand new week of episodes here on the channel. And I'm glad you're here because we today get to go back to a band that we've only heard one other time on the channel. We're looking at music by Sabaton today. The only other time we looked at a piece of theirs on the channel was actually Christmas week of 2021 when we looked at Christmas Truce, which is based on real events that happened during World War I. And so, with all that's going on in the world these days and conflict around the world, I wanted to go back to another song on conflict, on war, and just dwell in these themes and try to be present in it. And Sabaton is a band that has war and conflict as one of their favorite and most often used topics in their songs. As I was reading in today, most of their songs are on war. The last two albums that they put out is called The Great War and The War to End All Wars. And this last one, The War to End All Wars, was just released earlier this month, and I can't wait to listen to some of that one as well. But today we are looking at A Lifetime of War. I'm going to be using the English translation. The other name for it is En Livstid Krig. And this is from their sixth studio album called Carolus Rex. It was released back in 2012. And as I read in, this particular album is the best-selling Swedish heavy metal album of all time. So they've done very well with this one, and I can't wait to dive into it. It's a concept album that is based on the rise and fall of the Swedish Empire in the 17th century and early 18th century. And they have songs throughout this album that reference the battles of Breitenfeld, the Battle of Prague, Fraustadt, Poltava. They talk about the crowning of Charles XII, who was also called Carolus Rex, and later on his death. But this song, En Livstid Krig, also called A Lifetime at War, focuses on the misery caused by the 30 Years' War. And y'all, I'm not a historian. I know a little bit about this, but here's some basic backstory. This is a war that went on from about 1618 to 1648, and it started when the King of Bohemia, Ferdinand II, was replaced by Frederick V, and we've got these lingering religious factions and disputes, especially from the Reformation. Right, so we've got Catholics and Protestants duking it out. And sometime into the war, in about 1630, Sweden intervened and started to participate in the ongoing conflict. And they actually provided a major turning point in this long war, bolstering the Protestant cause. And so when they're talking about a lifetime of war, they ain't kidding. So this 30 Years' War was brutal. And we could go into a whole lot of stuff with it, but I think I just want to get to the song. I'm going to be referring to English translated lyrics and the English name of the song itself, A Lifetime of War. The version that we're going to be looking at is a live recording that they did, I think a year or two ago on their Great Tour. And when I looked at it, it looked really cool because it looks like the point of view from the camera is right on stage with the rest of the band, and you can see a bunch of the audience as well. So I'm ready to dive in, y'all. This is Sabaton En Livstid Krig, otherwise known as A Lifetime at War. Here we go.
Helt underbart. Mina vänner, då sjunger vi tillsammans. En livstid med krig!
That part I understood. The first part I didn't. All right. Wow. Pyrotechnics. Look at the crowd, too. Soaring melody. It's a 4-chord progression. flat minor. And you see the, like a tank, looks like on stage. I actually like it when the bands let the audience sing their songs. Makes you feel like you connect with the band a little bit more. But don't let them sing the whole song. Come on now. Wow. There's the major key, down to 5, 6. Power ballad. Hearing those strings in the background, and I think that's kind of holding everything together. There you go. All right. I remember him from the video, the Christmas Truce video. Not sure when they get to these lyrics because the lyrics that I have are just English translated lyrics. But we'll get to some of what it means here in a minute. Sounds great. That's B flat minor, then to G flat, up to D flat, to the 1, to 5. There's the 4-chord progression. Huh. And they re-rack, so that's 6. Power chords. Solo time. Chords start moving faster during the solo. That normally doesn't happen. Back to that B flat minor chord. Powerful stuff. It's like another section. Okay. Rallies everybody together. I mean, think of the shared human experience of all the people in this room getting to sing about this and let out a little angst and some fear, maybe, and just let some emotion out. Going back to that same progression with the melody a little bit higher now. A little more intensity. And that's going to be it, I think. Awesome. It's nothing extremely flashy. There's nothing extremely virtuosic, but it's rock solid. It's mixed great. And the message is quite profound. We're going to get into that, y'all. All right. I love watching live recordings. Gives me a better sense of who the band is, just by watching them do their thing. Sabaton. Rock on. Okay, so what were they singing about? Let's dive into a little bit of what the lyrics mean. And again, I'm basing this on a translation that I found, so I hope this is relatively accurate. A lifetime of war. I look around and I see my home fade away. My time at home now feels far too short. Just a youth, barely a man when duty called me. If I get to see my home again, that I do not know. Amongst my friends from my village, I went out to fight and the world burned. For war, it can destroy a man. I give my life for my homeland, but who will mourn for me? You know, and it's this dichotomy of war. It's like the people that hold the sway, that hold the leadership, that hold the control over what happens are normally not the people that are asked to put their lives on the line for the cause. It's other people. It's not the important people. It's all of the people that are just trying to live their lives and be the best versions of themselves. And it says, I give my life for my homeland, but who will mourn me? It's like back home, it's like life goes on for everybody and everybody's trying to do their thing. And I'm sent out, and what for? You know, is it worth it? Is this conflict worth the sacrifice that I'm putting out? And it messes with people. My grandfather was a World War II veteran, and I asked him many times over the years to tell stories about his experiences in the war, and he just wouldn't do it. He was in the Pacific during World War II. I've got uncles and my father-in-law that were active in Vietnam, and luckily I've never had to be involved in conflict like that, and I don't know if I could. I don't know what it would do to me. I really don't. If I was forced to do something like that. It goes on, went to fight for Sweden, was baptized in blood, out there where death awaits, not heroism. In fields where kinsmen fall, no song is heard, challenging our destiny one more time. Far from home, baptized and die in battle, and the world burned. For war, it can destroy a man. So I guess the war, it can destroy a man. I give my life for my homeland, but who will mourn for me? I think is that big chorus that they're coming back to in this. You know, with all that's going on in the world, I think it's good to focus on these topics and to just spend time dwelling on them, just to help keep the focus and keep the perspective where it needs to be during this time, and to keep our thoughts centered where they can be most productive. And at least in our own world, for even though I'm far away from the Ukrainian conflict, you know, what can I do here at home? How should I feel about it? What resources can I employ to try to help in any way? And in my small way, this video is a way of me trying to help in some way, just lifting up that war is something that mankind tends to engage in quite often, and we seem to not learn from our mistakes. And so shining a light on historical things that have happened, on bloodshed, on injustice, and in the end, like, what was it all worth it? That sort of stuff. I think it's worthy of our time to bring this stuff up. as we continually live through these repetitive cycles that tend to just work their way through societies and around the world. So a little bit of some talk of war on Metal Monday, but I really like that one. I wish there was a longer solo in that particular live version. I very much liked the sound of it. It sounded more heavy rock than metal to me in the way that this particular song was performed. I would have loved some soaring guitar, a couple more rounds of the progression with that progression for the guitar solo. But I very much enjoyed A Lifetime at War, otherwise known as En Livstid Krig by Sabaton. Thanks to Jason, our Patreon patron, for suggesting this one, and thanks to all of you for hanging out with me today. We got a lot more coming up this week, but that's all for today. Thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.